And we wanted a platform where we could actually give real equity in a profitable company. And last year, in 2020, we made $21.3 million in revenue. And this year, this quarter alone, we're on track to beat $21.3 million. And so this is buying equity in a real profitable company.
Layer 1 is a podcast and community dedicated to helping you master all things crypto. We'll be bringing you the best interviews with project executives, technical analysis for trading of the most popular cryptocurrencies, and insight into what's actually happening behind the scenes.
As you join us each episode, you're going to hear about tokens, fundraisers, investments, and even crypto conspiracies. But please remember that nothing we say should be considered financial or legal advice.
Come join us on this journey, and welcome to Layer 1. All right, good morning, good evening, good night. It's a Layer 1 podcast. I've got JP Richardson from Exodus Wallet here. We are going to have ourselves a great conversation about adoption, about their upcoming sale, about the Exodus Wallet, and everything crypto, man. We're going to have ourselves a great convo. So first, I'm going to bring JP in here. How you doing, JP?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, man. So we were just talking before, like right before I pressed live, we were just talking about adoption, how you look at the user experience as it comes to the Exodus wallet. But before we get to Exodus, I want to talk about JP. What is going on, JP? And tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, you bet. I have a software engineering background, and it was back around the 2015 timeframe when I realized that, first of all, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is not easy to use. And that I'm not a designer. So I had already started to create a Bitcoin wallet, and I didn't get any traction whatsoever. And around this same time, I met my co-founder, Daniel, who has the design expertise from Disney, Nike, Louis Vuitton, BMW, and Apple. So he really understood design and user experience. And so he and I teamed up, and we thought, well, let's build a cryptocurrency wallet that allows people to trade directly in the wallet, because we saw what happened with Mt. Gox, and that really upset us. And we saw that a lot of services like Binance and Coinbase are all about controlling the asset. You've heard the phrase, not your keys, not your coins. And that is, we wholeheartedly subscribe to that phrase. And so that's where this all started, empowering people to control their wealth.
That's amazing, man. And I'm fascinated with the amount of information that you're kind of throwing at kind of just out in the world. Is it for primarily your user base, or is that a way to kind of bring in new people to Exodus? Because you guys have so much educational content for a wallet platform, and I love it. First of all, being a content creator myself, what is the ethos, what is the thesis behind creating that amount of content for new users?
Well, given that Exodus is the easiest and most beautiful cryptocurrency platform to send, receive, and manage a portfolio of cryptocurrency, and 1.2 million people trust Exodus to protect their cryptocurrency. And our focus is always about the customer experience. How does a person feel when they use our software? And long term, we want to make cryptocurrency easy. And we realize and understand that to do that, it's not just about the software. We have to provide the educational resources to make this easy and understood. And so that's why we spent a lot of time on our YouTube channel. We have a number of videos now on our YouTube channel with over 50,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And then our knowledge base has a lot of articles that can help people just learn about cryptocurrency. And again, it's all about helping people navigate this complicated ecosystem.
Absolutely. If you guys want to check that out, that's on YouTube at Exodus. So speaking of education, I looked at your Twitter profile, do a little bit of research before I like to have my guests on. I saw you're on Clubhouse, and Clubhouse has been blowing up in the NFT space specifically. Yes. How was your experience on Clubhouse? And then I'm going to throw a pomp question at you before we hop into Exodus.
Look, I love Clubhouse because Clubhouse is where our customers are. These are the average person that is wanting to talk about cryptocurrency. These aren't technical people. Of course, there's technical people on there, but it's people that want to learn more and have conversations about, like you mentioned, NFTs, Bitcoin, whatever it is, they're having conversations on Clubhouse. And so it's a good spot for us to be in and participate in those conversations. And that's why we like hanging out on Clubhouse.
And then I got to throw the Pomp question at you. How is it getting interviewed by pretty much the king of crypto right now? Although I think a lot of people have say at that crown. How was that Pomp interview?
I thought it was great. What a lot of people don't know is that midway through that interview, his fire alarm went off in his building.
Oh no!
And so, I mean, that was one of my actual first, podcast interviews in recent history. And I was thinking, I was like, oh no, is this thing gonna have to start all over again? But yeah, the fire alarm went off right in the middle of the interview, and we had to wait a few minutes for that to finish. But fortunately, it was just a false alarm. Nothing bad happened. But yeah, it was a really fun interview.
Yeah, this is all the inside leaks you guys are getting here on Layer 1. But so we're going to make our way to Exodus. I want to talk about how you guys really originally decided. You kind of took me around the ethos of kind of the user adoption. You took me into your Bitcoin wallet that you were originally creating. How did you find yourself creating Exodus, and what has the timeline been up to this very point?
So it started with making this easy and empowering people to control their assets. But the real origin in Genesis that's important to talk about here is there was a conference in October of 2015, and we started kind of the product, but it was a real early prototype. And at that conference, we met Erik Voorhees, the CEO of Shapeshift, who is our first investor in Exodus. And what a lot of people don't or didn't know at that time, it's public now, but that Shapeshift is in Denver, Colorado, and Exodus was founded in Nebraska. And so, Nebraska being right next door to Colorado, Daniel and I were able to jump in our car, drive all the way down I-80 down to Denver, sit with Erik, and have him, provide guidance on, his feelings and experiences with the software, and kind of get that hands-on experience. And then, at that moment in time, funds were tight for us. So we actually would drive back in the same day back to Nebraska to save on funds. But early days, we worked really closely with Shapeshift, and they were one of our first API providers to power the exchange in the software.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit more about Erik. I know a lot of people know about him, but what did you learn in building Exodus, or kind of in the future, what you would put to use? What did you get from Erik that helped you build Exodus?
So the first thing that caught his eye was that we were focused on simplicity and ease of use. And so it was great to get his feedback as a cryptocurrency consumer. I mean, a lot of people know that Erik, was one of the, kind of, you could probably call him old school crypto, old school Bitcoin. And so it was amazing to get his feedback on the customer experience and the user experience early on. And so that's where it started.
All right. So take me through the dashboard basically that you guys have. Take me through the wallet, and also kind of why someone would use Exodus as opposed to a couple competitors like Ledger or Trezor.
Sure. So as far as the software itself, again, the big focus is always on ease of use. And so when it comes to the actual offering, what was important to us is to focus on an offering that is native to cryptocurrency. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean by that. So the stock itself is available will be available to the public pending SEC approval. I've always got to say that, pending SEC approval. It'll be available to the public, whether that's accredited investors or non-accredited investors. And the stock will be represented 100% digitally on the blockchain. And you can purchase the stock only with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDC. And so that's where we started. And we thought that, again, this was all important because we see a future where stock and cryptocurrency is controlled by you as a person. And, what happened with Robinhood and GameStop. And we want a future where if you don't like what the platform is doing, you can just take your assets out of the platform and go to any other platform. if you want to do tokenized equity legally, this is how you actually have to do it. And so, we saw what happened with the ICOs in 2017, and there were a lot of great projects that actually turned out, with actual real software, and it's great. But there were also a lot of failures that people would put in a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars, and it ended up just being scams. And we wanted a platform where we could actually give real equity in a profitable company. And last year, in 2020, we made $21.3 million in revenue. And this year, this quarter alone, we're on track to beat $21.3 million. And so this is buying equity in a real profitable company. In addition, there's something that a lot of people aren't talking about yet. This is going to be really, really fun, is that you can imagine a world where you blend equity in a token, and you blend it with loyalty or utility. And you could do all sorts of cool things. Whereas, let's say if actually I'm going to take a more traditional approach. Let's imagine you visit Starbucks, every single day, right? And you're buying I don't know, let's say it's 10 years from now. And let's say a coffee costs you $20, because inflation, and it's now $20, right?
Oh God.
Yeah. and let's say coffee costs you, let's say $20.30. And they say, sir, you come in here every single day. Would you like to round up your purchase and buy some equity in Starbucks? Is that something that you would like to do? And then you can imagine, like, wow, yeah, now I'm actually a holder of equity in Starbucks. And then you kind of become like maybe more of a super fan, because you're talking about how you have all this ownership in Starbucks. And so you can imagine then a world where, if you take this back to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in a wallet, you could do things where, maybe we reward customers. Maybe we take away exchange fees or things like that, or we could do all sorts of things where, if you hold certain amounts of equity inside of Exodus, we can bring these two worlds together. But the possibilities are endless, and we're just getting started proving out this concept.
Yeah, I'm here nodding my head because we believe in that ethos 100% here at Layer 1. That we have the LADS token that actually powers a little bit of what we do on our channel. So people that come in and they're viewing this episode, they earn things for showing up to live streams and events, and that way they can be part of the channel a little bit more. So 100% agree with what you're talking about there. Endless possibilities is the way to say that as well, because it's an entire rabbit hole, right? It's huge. You can be down there for a long time. So really like what you guys are doing from incentivizing your community here in the future. I'm sure that you guys have had multiple talks late nights on how you could incentivize through tokens with your community. So take me a little bit before we cap the offering conversation. Take me a little bit through the details, if you can get at any.
Yeah.
I know you obviously have to work with the SEC there. So any details as far as a retail investor, a non-accredited investor might find interesting?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started this process. It was the summer of 2020, and see, Exodus isn't venture funded, so we didn't have to go a traditional route and list in the NASDAQ or anything like that. We didn't have to go a traditional route. So we started this process back in the summer of 2020, and we thought it would take a long time. We thought it would take a year and a half or so, and it was around December when we were told, we're like, okay, we've got to really accelerate the product development here and be ready, because remember, this is 100% inside of Exodus. The actual offering, the day it goes live, is inside of Exodus. You don't leave Exodus to actually participate in this offering. And so we were told that we've got to be ready to go around the March timeframe. And again, it's all pending SEC approval. And we have this vision for essentially what we would like to think of as a world IPO. Now, for the offering, we may have to limit it to the United States, and then later we can actually branch outside the United States and offer on a different platform, such as there's another platform called Merge, and this can all be inside of Exodus, and then we can allow our non-US customers to invest in this offering. But this is all going to happen, pending SEC approval. It's all going to happen very soon. End of March, early April, this offering, we plan for it to kick off.
Oh, awesome. Well, you're coming on at the right time then, and hopefully people at home are listening and definitely interested. So I want to go through the actual platform itself. Obviously, wallets. There are multiple competitors. Why would someone kind of use your platform? I love the actual layout itself. I'm looking at the website here. Your platform is offering more than 100 cryptocurrency assets. You've got staking inside the app. What are some of the reasons, other than the two that I just mentioned, that someone would use your wallet instead of the other competitors?
When we think about Exodus and how to create Exodus, we think about creating an experience of how people are going to feel great when they use the software. And so I remember back in the bull run of 2017, a friend of mine, and we were at a bar, and he says, "Hey JP, I know that this Bitcoin thing is hot. I want to get into Bitcoin, and I want to figure out cryptocurrency." I said, "Okay, cool. Exodus doesn't have this." Back, December of 2017. We only had a desktop wallet at that moment in time. We did not have a mobile wallet. And so being at a bar, it's not like you just have your laptop out or anything like that. So it's like, okay, let's get on the app store and let's find you a mobile wallet that will work well for you.
Hmm.
And we started going through a bunch of wallets, and all of them, every single one of them wanted you to do a bunch of stuff, like write down your 12-word phrase, just things to really get in the way of you at least experiencing the product. And so that's how we started thinking about this. Like, let's get people into the product as soon as possible and let them experience it. And so we focus on the ease of use and how and making it just beautiful. And that's the number one thing that we really focus on. And that's what people really love. In addition to that, I mean, you mentioned staking. That's something that is very popular, especially amongst the Cardano fans out there, is that you can just one click stake your assets inside of Exodus. And some people will ask us, they'll say, "Hey, HAP, why does Exodus not allow me to choose my staking pool to stake with like an asset like Cardano?" And the reason is that in that kind of scenario, you would then have to manage the staking pool. In other words, when the staking pool hits, I think the limit is 64 million ADA or Cardano, then you would have to, take your assets out and go to another pool. And
Hmm.
so again, it all comes back to simplicity. How can we make this stuff easy for normal people? And that's why we just have a one-click stake option to make it very, very simple. And I could go on and talk about the exchange and the hardware wallets and all kinds of great stuff, but I'll pause on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear more about the features. Again, like with the wallets, I feel like there are so many hidden gems, Exodus being one of them, where if we just kind of got out of the way of and dug a little bit deeper, we would see that, man, so many more features are here, as opposed to just, using your ledger and doing what basically people, for the most part, are doing. So I'm excited to learn about more features. Do you guys have any down the roadmap, the timeline here, that you can maybe divulge on the podcast here, or what are you guys thinking as far as future features?
The biggest thing that we're working on is this offering and trying to get, so we're going to do the offering first,
Hmm.
and that's, we're going to kick that off here pending SEC approval the next 1 to 2 weeks or so. And once that's live, we have to let the offering close out. We don't know if it's going to be a couple days, a month, we don't know. But then once the offering's finished, we have to make it available for people to trade. And so the plan there is to open up trading on T0, and that's going to be all integrated inside of Exodus, so people can trade their assets, their Exodus shares in T0. In addition to that, we see a future where if we show the world and prove to the world that this can work and that this will work, then we believe that other companies are going to want to come in and offer stock directly to Exodus investors and Exodus customers. And then you can see how this could emerge into essentially what is an alternative stock market
Hmm.
outside of the traditional stock market, and it's all built on the blockchain. And so that's one of the most exciting things that we're working on this year. In addition to that, other things that we're looking at doing is today inside of Exodus on the iPhone, you can buy Bitcoin and you can have it inside of your Exodus wallet in less than 2 minutes if you have Apple Pay set up. And so it's very simple, very, very efficient. However, we don't have Android supported with Google Pay yet. And so we think that would be really valuable for our customers to be able to, buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrency with Google Pay. And so that's another thing that we're looking at, and that'll be coming. In addition, I'm very interested in the NFT space. I haven't, other than buying some stupid meme NFTs, I have never bought anything serious yet. I spent some time on OpenSea this last weekend as I approached it as if I was like a new person. And it's today, NFTs are very difficult.
Yeah.
And the gas prices on these things are just to transfer NFT. It's crazy, like $50 to $75. That's insane. And so we see a future where we can make these things simple. We can partner up with a blockchain to maybe outside of Ethereum, maybe it's another blockchain like Tezos or Avalanche or Solana, and create an NFT experience that would be really simple for customers. So there's a lot to unpack, and we can dig into any of those rabbit holes.
I mean, I would definitely love to see the rabbit hole of your Ethereum wallet as it relates to your NFT holdings. I want to know what memes you actually bought, but we have a very enthusiastic NFT community within Lads, within Layer 1. So, we've been watching Polygon do some layer 2 things. We've been watching Binance try to eat some up here. Flow has been doing a great job. I think your ethos matches a lot with what Flow and Dapper Labs are doing. So also, I want to give a quick comment. Seeing a lead dev or a dev have the kind of communication skills and the charisma that you have is definitely a good thing. And I want to commend you on that. And you should definitely be doing more interviews. It's rare to see those two traits in a single person.
Well, you kind of fall into the role. I mean, now we're running the company, and we have, let's see, as of today, we have 137 employees. And so have to communicate well to everybody. And so you got to kind of fall into the role.
Well, I'm definitely interested on seeing your opinion on DeFi more than it relates to NFTs. I know NFTs are definitely a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down. And I think you're right. The usability is not there. It's better than 2017, but still not completely there. But as far as it relates to DeFi, would you see DeFi apps kind of making their way, or DeFi app dApps making their way into Exodus or some type of function where you guys will be in those type of pools as opposed to kind of staking pools that you see yourself on like layer 1 protocols right now?
Yeah, so today a lot of people aren't aware of this, but we have a compound finance integration directly inside the desktop wallet. And we also, there was a period of time where we had a SportX integration, which is, a wager platform where you can wager, Ethereum and DAI on games. And these were really exciting things. But what happened is that, this last summer, Ethereum and the gas prices just skyrocketed. And so we slowed down our vision, because our vision was to build an apps platform inside of Exodus where we could make dApps super simple for people. Because right now, other experiences out there, just, the browser plugins, you click it and this weird fox is looking at you, and it's, the experience is just not what it should be. And so we have this vision of making DeFi really simple. And so we started with compound finance, and we started with SportX, but it's just the Ethereum gas fees has really stopped a lot of our progress here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get optimism. And
yes.
I'm not even going to say the words ETH 2.0, although I just did. So the last question I have about DeFi, although we could spend a whole episode talking about DeFi, is it uni or sushi from your perspective? What do you
look? Okay, a lot of people don't know this one either. We actually have a Uniswap integration inside of Exodus. So in the exchange, the Exodus exchange supports over 10,000 trading pairs, and you can go in there and you can pick a number of trading pairs and you can exchange directly inside of Exodus. Now, if our exchange API providers do not support the Ethereum assets, then we route them through Uniswap. And so from my view, look, I'm a big fan of Uniswap. That's where we started. I'm super excited for their version 3 announcement. I'm told it's coming out this week.
It happened today. It happened an hour ago.
Oh, so I missed it. I don't even know.
They actually put a license. They put a license on version 3. Sushi can't, like, no one can fork it apparently for 2 years or some type of thing.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm excited. After this call, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go read the announcement because I'm really interested to see all the features that they've put into it.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I've touched on this multiple times on this call, but I appreciate your look on the ease of use and adoption, especially as it comes to mobile. Right, throughout the entire world, most people are going to be mobile as they, kind of interact with crypto for the first time. Your user base right now, how much of that is, US based, and then how much are you looking at the rest of the world, places like Africa that are going to be super heavy mobile and really need access to cryptocurrency?
Yeah. Today, uh, our customer base is split out to, I think the number was about, last I checked, it was 27% in the United States. So we have a pretty large international presence. And yeah, the mobile for sure. Absolutely. Our mission is to help half of the world exit the traditional financial system. And so the way that we're going to have to do this is we can't just focus on the United States. We cannot just focus on the West, right? We have to make this easy in countries all of the world. I mean, you had mentioned Africa, and there's, at last I checked, I think it was 20% of the world is unbanked. One in five is just unbanked in this world. And so we have to create experiences where a person can download Exodus and they can buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrency easily without even having a bank account. So that would mean possibly, cash transactions in a peer-to-peer manner. Maybe it would mean, integrations with ATM networks or what have you. But absolutely, we're thinking about the future here, and it's definitely in the mobile, and it's definitely about making cryptocurrency easy. A lot of people, as I mentioned right before this call, a lot of people, really focus on the technical aspects of cryptocurrency, and the examples I used was like Merkle trees and blockchain finality and things like that. And it's like the average person starting out on the crypto journey does not care about blockchain finality.
Mm.
They care about keeping their money safe and making sure that they always have access to their money and that they can use it at any moment in time. And that's what the world is going to demand. And that's where the world's headed. And that's what we're thinking about, is how to make these things easy.
Great ethos there. I appreciate that so much. So I got a personal question. I'm really, really fascinated with like zero knowledge proofs and the idea of reputation kind of following us around in these wallets. Have you guys as a team kind of looked at this and said, hey, eventually we'll have these implementations where within the wallet, you'll be able to kind of prove identity without kind of giving up maybe your wallet address or things like this?
Yeah, great question. So when we think about a wallet, if a person thinks about a wallet in general, right? A wallet, like an actual physical wallet, not a software wallet for a minute, but a physical wallet, it holds money and identity through an
Hmm.
ID card, right? And so that's where we see the future of wallets going. It's going to hold your money and it's going to hold your identity. And yeah, zero knowledge proofs provide, I think, a really awesome opportunity where you could imagine a future where you possibly KYC on a platform, but you don't actually have to give that data over to the platform. And you can say, yes, I'm JP Richardson, in Nebraska, and I am who I say I am, but I don't actually have to give you certain data like my social security number or things like that, because we all know that with a lot of these platforms, sometimes it's a matter of not if they get hacked. Sometimes it could be a matter of when they get hacked. And so zero knowledge proofs are something that we're starting to explore in this regard to identity. Another thing that's really interesting is that you could imagine, what if you had like a blockchain username, right? And there's services that are popping up right now that are starting to do this. Like I think Theo is one of them. ENS, of course, is another one. But with these services like ENS, for example, you reveal your Ethereum address when you give somebody your ENS name. And we've got to think more about privacy and protecting the people's data when using these sorts of technologies. And so, yeah, these are things that we are definitely thinking about.
This has been a great conversation. I don't want to hop out without kind of hitting on anything else as it's related to Exodus. So, is there anything maybe we didn't cover as it's related to the wallet itself? I know, KYC is definitely, you mentioned Shapeshift earlier in the episode. They had some issues where they had to kind of take some features back. They had to add KYC. Is that something you guys have had to face being in the US?
So the software itself, we have API providers that are servicing the exchanges all over the world, including the United States. And so depending upon where a customer is located, a certain API provider will actually be chosen. And so on certain conditions, KYC does come into play, but it doesn't happen very often. And so all of these API providers have to follow the laws in the relevant jurisdictions. But we haven't had to experience a dramatic change in the user experience for our average customer.
As far as the other question that I was asking, any other features or any other things that we did not touch on as it's related to what you guys are building with Exodus?
I think, yeah, one of the biggest and exciting things too is that we are thinking about security a lot, right? So today, if you have your mobile wallet, cryptocurrency wallet, and you're out at a pub, right? I keep using bar examples, and you're out at a pub, and
we need that in Corona times,
yeah,
man.
I think that's why it is, because everybody's itching to get out. And so let's say a post-pandemic, you're out at a pub or bar, and you're looking at your portfolio, and somebody's overlooking your shoulders, and they see, oh wow, this person has a lot of money in their wallet. That's a real concern. You can't, if you stumble out, you had a few too much to drink, you stumble out into the alley over or whatever, you very well could have your money stolen from you. And so we're thinking about, okay, how can we bring in two-factor authentication? How can we do things like that to make it safe for people to hold large amounts of money, hold an entire portfolio? Like if you're looking at, let's say, a standard 401k in a pub, like a Fidelity 401k in a pub, you're not going to be worried. You're like, oh yeah, I got, a few $100,000 or whatever it is, right? You're not going to be like, oh no, someone's going to oversee this and steal this 401k from me. You're not going to be thinking that at all. And if they tried to, you'd be like, I'm going to have to call
somebody.
Yeah. I'm going to call somebody. It's going to take like a week or two. And it's going to be, you're just like, just take my phone. And so we have to figure out how do we provide people with the sovereignty over their own wealth, but still protect them in scenarios where they may be compromised. And so those are things that we're constantly thinking about. And we're excited that, late 2021 and early 2022, we think we're going to have a lot of these problems solved, but it's going to take some time to get these solutions out into the world.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm interested in the point that you made earlier when you said you weren't introducing the seed phrase right off the bat to your new users. How do you guys handle that seed phrase, and how do you handle that personal security point that you made earlier?
Yeah, so okay, in reality, when a person downloads a wallet and they're new to it, they want to know, does this wallet feel right to me? Is it easy or is it confusing? And that's what they want to know first. And at that moment in time, it doesn't matter if they write down, they don't have any money in it yet. So they don't have to write anything down yet. Now, once they deposit money into their wallet, that's when it becomes really important. And that's when we prompt them and we say, hey, you got money in your wallet now. You need to back up your 12-word secret phrase, which gives people access and control to your money. And so that's how we're thinking about that. As far as the other kind of scenario that I painted in a bar or pub, there's some things that can be done as far as using, you can combine, you could use things like multi-sig, right? You can imagine a wallet on your desktop and a wallet on your mobile phone. And you can imagine, multi-sig technology being used there to authenticate in different scenarios. And threshold signatures, kind of using some of the zero knowledge proof ideas. You can get real creative. You could say like, okay, in these certain scenarios, maybe combined with GPS locations, you can only send like $50 or $100. There's some security things we got to worry about there, but you can imagine a world where that becomes possible, and certain geofencing locations where you might actually be able to protect your money and keep it safe. But there's a lot of possibilities that we're still researching through and trying to figure out.
Well, we need people like you guys to kind of make sure that we're taken care of when we're at the pub and all of this security issues. So I appreciate it. JP, this has been a great conversation. We're talking everything Exodus. If you guys want to learn more about what they're building, about this initial offering that they're going to be doing end of March, early April, pending SEC approval, I'll say it for you. But you guys can go to exodus.com. The last question I have for you, JP, book recommendation for the people out there listening at home. What would you say? It could be crypto, non-crypto. What's your recommendation?
The number one that I have that I think any person can benefit from is How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's some outdated advice in there, but in terms of being courteous to people, it's a great book. I think that's useful. One that people in the crypto space might like is Bitcoin Billionaires. I thought that one was actually really entertaining. And so that's just a good story to read. So either one of those, I think somebody could really get some benefit from. Amazing conversation as well. JP, thank you for coming on the Layer 1 podcast. I hope to have you guys on soon, and good luck with your upcoming sale. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to check out Layer 1 on all the audio and video platforms listed in the description. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next week.